On the way to pay the bill, a man stormed past, glancing at me angrily. Remorseful yet stunned, I was drifting with intensity toward my afternoon appointment. When I arrived, my therapist seemed cold and tense. I wanted to be angry too, but her anger was painful. I couldn't match it. She asked how I felt again. Like a shooting arrow down a tunnel. For a moment she looked at me, annoyed. The days feel too close. I can't put my finger on it. I stopped. It's like someone's got their finger on me and all I want to do is say sorry, I said. Sorry for what? She asked. I'm not sure. Everything I do that seems wrong. I looked up at her. Because everyone is watching me, I wanted to say, but I was so unsure. Do you still think people are following you? She asked. I thought for a moment, sensing the tension of a spring trap. Yes, they've also been into my house, I said. Who? She asked. If I could barely get past the first line, I think my house is bugged with cameras and microphones. Then how could I get past the next line? This is about a movie star. Not sure, I said slowly, but I know it's true. You believe it's true, she said. It wasn't anger in her voice now, but desperation. Okay, I believe it's true. She looked at me pathetically. It was raining when I arrived home, and I walked along the path to my front door. I saw a bearded homeless man taking cover under the steps beside the house. Just taking a break from the rain, he said as I passed. He had a shopping trolley full of bits and pieces, and a black dog thumped his tail beside him. Do you want some tea? I asked. Yes, he nodded. I examined his face, his threadbare shirt. I'll bring it to you, I said, and soon returned balancing the tea. But he was gone. When I arrived for my next appointment at the clinic, the main entry door was locked. I tried it again and pushed. It was still locked. Maybe they don't want me, I thought. I knocked loudly. Suddenly the door swung open and a man smiled. How do you feel? She asked once I was seated. The cool air of the office slid around my arms again. As if I'm running from a train, I said. She noted it down. Just then there was a knock on the door and a woman stuck her head inside. We have someone out here with a cut finger. Do you know first aid? The woman asked. She jumped up, excused herself and hurried out the door. After waiting another 10 minutes in the puffy chair, I stood to leave. When the door opened, she walked in. I'm so sorry, she heaved like an on-stage entrance. Now where were we? I'm here about the results of my personality test, I said. Yes, of course. She took a file from her desk and sat down again. There were a few irregularities in the test, she said in a slower and lower voice. It shows indication of an antisocial personality type. Antisocial personality. I had suspected it might have something to say about paranoia and depression, but of all things, an antisocial personality was not what I expected. Can I have a look at the test? I asked. It's very complex, she said quickly, not something you or even I can understand. It uses a method of grading that experts only are trained to decipher. So how do you know it says all this? I asked. Antisocial personality scored very high comparatively, according to the tests. I sat quietly. She'd taken the conversation over and was now winding it around me. The things you are telling me, these delusions, are part of a persecution complex you have. Symptoms of a very serious illness, she said. Do I have to go to hospital? This was the real root of all my fears. You might if things don't improve. But things had not improved. Not since summer, not since autumn, and not now in winter. Can I have a copy of the test? I asked. It would not be helpful for you to have a copy. It's for health professionals, not self-diagnosis, she said. I don't see why I can't have a copy of the test. I cannot give you a copy of the test. If it's about me, why shouldn't I have it? I said. She waited a moment. What is important is what happens next. I'm very concerned that we get the right treatment for you, that you are healed. I went back to the library and opened the diagnostic manual on mental health and looked for a description for antisocial personality disorder. I took a deep breath. There were a list of related disorders and I slowly read down the list. There it was. Schizophrenia. I turned to the diagnostic signs for schizophrenia and read, during a psychotic break, complete disorganization of the personality occurs, suddenly, and includes delusions often associated with a sense of persecution. Oh my God, please don't let this be true, I thought. Some are convinced that their thoughts are being broadcast at large against their will. The aperture was tightening. I closed the book, too frightened to cry, immobilised like some doll skewered by fear. Inside the house again, I tried to move about in the dark for as long as possible, reluctant to throw bright light into my already overexposed life. I curled up on the couch and shut my eyes. This is not my life, I thought, trying to reflect back on the days and months and years leading up to this day. I'm standing at the sidelines to a racetrack watching hundreds of go-karts drive by, and as they race down the track I see Ken in a car with a baby on his back. I run towards him, but as I do I get in the way of all the other cars and I nearly get hit. They are veering off the road, crashing into each other with a loud sound.